Hi, Shire friends.
Hi. We're just hanging home and having fun. And today we're going to teach you about flexible and rigid.
Okay. Mrs. Nelson asked if I would share a little lesson and activities that Grant and I did today on the words flexible and rigid. This is something that that Grant's occupational therapist had wanted us to touch on. So she suggested explaining the words in a very concrete, experiential way first, and then, of course, being able to go from there to have it be more abstract, talking about how we can be flexible and rigid. We haven't gotten to that part yet, but I plan to do that throughout the week. But I also thought that these two words are so helpful right now as we are experiencing things that are out of the norm and very different to help us all be flexible. So, Grant, do you want to explain what does the word flexible mean? Wait.
Flexible means it can move easily by bending. Just like this piece of paper.
Okay. And it bends, but it doesn't what?
Break.
It doesn't break. That's flexible. Grant, what does rigid mean?
Rigid. Oh, that was hard.
Okay, so what does rigid mean? That is very hard.
Rigid means it's hard.
And what else? You can't do what to it?
You can't break it.
Right.
See?
Okay. So we started out with the definitions of flexible and rigid. I wrote out the word flexible on, you can't see, it's kind of backwards, on a piece of paper that's very flexible, and I wrote out rigid on something that's hard and unable to move, just to further demonstrate those two words. Hadley's here too. So
Do you want to say hi to
after
Hadley?
we're staying on task, guys. Great. After we talked about the definitions of flexible and rigid, I handed Grant these Easter eggs. Okay, so I had 6 Easter eggs, 3 to demonstrate flexible and 3 to demonstrate rigid. So he opened up the eggs one at a time.
This is flexible.
And he pulled out the object and decided if it was flexible or rigid. And we talked about why, right? Okay, so show them another egg, another example.
Let's see this egg. What? Oh,
What is
this
it?
is rigid. Oh,
Why is that rigid?
because it's made of wood.
It's a magnetic letter. So we went on and on. We had 6 eggs, so 3 flexible and 3 rigid. So each time he opened up an egg, we talked about each one. I used Easter eggs because we had those, but you could also use like a bag and just pull items
this
out.
one.
Okay, go ahead.
What
is that? It fell on the ground. Can you get it real quick?
What is it? I wonder what it is. Oh, it's flexible.
This is part of a foam puzzle. So it was a foam puzzle piece. So then after Grant went through all of the eggs, then we have this, I can't flip the camera around. I have this piece of butcher paper and half of it says flexible and half says rigid. So then I set a timer for 5 minutes and I told Grant to run around the house and find items that he could categorize as flexible and rigid. So Grant, show them some of the items that you came back with when you did that activity. So he had his car, which he decided was rigid. Although we did talk about how the tires on the car were flexible. Okay, what is another object you found?
Flexible.
Flexible, so that's like a rubber insect. Another car. Let's see, Grant, you pulled over another car, so that would be what? Rigid. And then he found a piece of paper. We had a big pile. We had 2 big piles because he had 5 minutes to do it. But he got a piece of paper, which is flexible. So then after we did that for a while, yes, he has a marker, which is rigid because it does not bend. After we, things are going south. Okay. After we did that, I gave Grant this box. Grant, here, don't do that right now. Show them your box.
Okay.
I gave him this and inside, show them inside. There were little compartments, and I labeled each compartment flexible or rigid. Okay.
Rigid.
So there's 6 compartments, so I did 3 and 3.
Rigid. Rigid.
And I got that at the dollar spot at Target just like a few days ago, but you could use anything, like an egg crate. And I just put sticky notes in the bottom so I could use it for other sorting things. But then we took the box outside and we just explored, right? We walked around our neighborhood, looking for things that were flexible and rigid outside. And this turned into like great exploration beyond the activity that we were doing. Some creek hopping and some puddle jumping and some, mud wrestling. So all of it was great. So that's what we did. So sorry, I have Hadley here. But I plan to move now beyond the concrete to more abstract concept of how we can be flexible. In fact, the Lord created us to be flexible. There's parts of our bodies that are rigid, like our bones to hold us upright and to give strength to us, but there are parts that are flexible, and one of them is our brain. It is flexible, and it can be flexible. It can change. It can, especially when you're in a situation where you're frustrated. In fact, you don't have to be rigid in your thinking and in your actions, but you can be flexible. So that's the hope. I haven't really thought through exactly how I'm going to explain it and, execute it, obviously, with a child on my leg. But you get the gist. So that's what we did. So I hope that's helpful. Just something else that I threw in there because that was kind of our homework for occupational therapy, but thought I would share. So hope you guys are having a great day. Grant, can you say bye to your friends?
Bye.
Bye, guys.